dissolving. Oh, yes. Wanna make no tough issues affecting my people, leading them to evil. Hate and grudge, despise and dishonesty.
Yes. It seems we had some technical in the place, you know. We never call them gremlins, but they started. Yes. So we are see really, we look at Al-Haji Malachi Shabazz. When we go to Africa, Al-Mawali, Malcolm X, we're saying that that which he stands for is relevant for us and has been relevant for us for a long time. And most importantly is that we Muslims, we know that. And we're going to make haste and implement. But what I was saying before something happened to the sound is that there's a cruiser running up and down, and artists, reggae artists, musicians, just jump on board this holiday cruiser, this tourist business. And at the same time, most of the people them, most of the item, them are Pan-Africanists, them are African liberation strugglists, they're reparation strugglists, and them are Rasta. And they're all Garveyites. But the tourism business that them go support have nothing to do with us. So it's just money. And we don't have an airplane, our ship representing the Black Star Liner going in and out of Africa. It's just a conversation and celebration and more conversation and more conversation when it comes to Marcus Garvey. Not even a curriculum in the institutions of learning, whether it's primary school, secondary school, college, or university. But someone come dangle some money and say, jump on board this cruiser and advertise for we business and attract more people to the business. Forget saying the people that come out Jamaica, they come for the business. You understand? And yet still no one can take them little butter pan and have some shoes, some boogers, and say, we'll take some barrels and other things and water purifications and some greens and other things, along with some forks and some sickles and some hoes and go on to the continent. and say Trev Tribe, Bobo Dread, Abashanti, and say Garvey. It don't work. It don't work. Man, them just jump on board the people, them cruiser, and attract tourist industry and create money for someone else. We love the consuming and we love support other things. So we're going to show you, say, how it's possible that a team can be organized and built to have an infrastructure, to have some structures, to have some solutions. No, we need structure, you see, and implement that. Have some cooperation, and we're good. Because everything that's just happening is all those persons that either took the European man yoke and used that as their validation for success. And we Muslims neither that. We're not doing that. We can never do that. And that's why I think many people opposes us. But they don't oppose we. You try oppose Islam that you don't even try to learn. You see? And maybe you're lustful because you can't undress for we women, just like the Caucasian. You try tempt, but it don't work. So, how could the culture of the continent, the cultures, are the different tribes, are different nations of people on the continent, how could that integration, knowing that we are the children of them, but we are the children of the slave that only know the diaspora, the Caribbean islands, England, America, and Canada. And we're short of African education. We're short of African cultured education. We have European education. And we have theological education, all of us. So you see, it's very important for us when we embrace what is called Al-Islam, that we remove all the burdens and the shackles and the cobwebs from our psyche. Even though we know more time that we were behaving very well, but it's what we were fed that has a psychological effect on our well-being. So when we were able to erase that, why we behave the way we do behave, and why we see things the way we do see things, and why we construct our lives in the way in which our grandparents were able to do. Work that out is a serious thing, that. You understand? So those who just come and still validating themselves with the education, which is the theological education, and it's brain-fed us. You can't escape. So no point talking about brainwashing and dishwashing. It is all of us. And we who are, say, Al-Islam, Muslim, we've been able to find the antidote. And the antidote is in the Creator. The antidote is not in some man and some methodology from some man. So we've been good to go from the time we said La ilaha illallah. That's it. Malcolm Melchizedek Shabazz, good to go. Imam Wardi Muhammad, good to go. Long time. Muhammad Ali, same way, same speed. And a whole heap of other and whole heap of sisters too. You understand? And that we want one to examine. Because it's a joke business. You take the man thing and then you want disrespect we, or try disrespect yourself and disrespect with culture by saying Arab this and Arab that and that and that and that. With no evidence really. It's just a propaganda thing you work with because your teachers them who want you to stay with the theological practices is instill that nonsense in our psyche. In our psyche. And I beg somebody who vex with me for listen to Dr. Clark and see what him really I say. Huh? Because him say if it not being applied, if Al-Islam is not being applied by the Africans, applied, you know, saying, it might as well dash it in the dustbin, in the trash heap. Listen to him carefully. You understand? Listen to him carefully. Him never say him run from the azan, you know. Him say when him hear the azan being made by African, how sweet it is. And him say that others were taking the recordings of the sweet voice of us and using it because they couldn't call it or the sound that they were making. They know that the sound that they were hearing was much more profound than their own sound. And we can deal with that. That's not a big problem. And that was just to show some people that, you know, we're up there. But the Azan doesn't need martyrs and vandals. It don't need it don't need none of them singer there. I can't remember none of them name to write it. To say. You understand? To sing it. No. It's not a competition. You just voice it. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The best of to your ability. And that's it. You understand? But we know that we have good vocal cords. See? So there was no big thing in that. No. He was a close friend of Melchizedek Shabazz. You think him spending time telling Malcolm X, left that stuff there, left that Muslim stuff, left these Arabs? Come on, mates. Are you lot all right? Are you lot sane? Or are you lot just little vagabonds because you can? Because it seems that all we'll have to do is argue about something that we don't know a damn thing about and then convince your very self in your stupid ass dreams that you're speaking the truth. Which truth is that? Which truth is that? That King James a black man? Eh? That the Nicene doctrine and everything was constructed in Africa, and then the same time the Corinthians were in Africa. Eh? And it was all these Greek people and Turkish people and all these people. Come on, man, let's make sense. And we're taught the 21st century, and you try to fool my son and my grandchildren. Are you mad? What is wrong with you people? And we chat Rasta, Christian, Jew, everybody, Hebrew, Dr. York, all of these people, man. You know what I want? Really want? I want a chess between everything we have against Al-Quran. Not against me. Against Al-Quran. Come with one of the readers, your scholars, your artificial doctrine, and see. And see. All these mystic revelations. And then for someone to say that which they read in the book predict that we should have been slaves. So if that be the case, how the hell you want to check another set of people for putting us in slavery when you're done, you're saying with your own mouth reading something that belonged to someone else and saying that it was destined, it was ordained. By whom? That means we have a strange God, Astaghfirullah Azim, that dislike black people and put black people to a test because he can. And let the people them who are wicked destroy and squeeze and abuse and vilify black people in this world. Not just some places, in this world. No. And a God when I chat about, when I want to say so, but when I lie. That don't work. And then when you want to twist it around, you say Ham, Shem, and Japheth. And then you say it's because one of the children them laugh, and here comes God again. Him take the one who laugh and turn him and all his protogenes now black. So that means there was no black. You fools. That's what that means. That means there was no black. Everything else was not black. And because of this incident, black came to being. Oh, which way you want to turn and deal with this thing, it doesn't make sense. You deal with a rotten egg? No, man, you deal with someone who's sensible and can read. You understand? We read A, B, C, D, E. We not read G and J and all these things, you know. We not Jim Screech and jump out the place. Like what my mother call it? A cockroach running through ink. Make all kind of weird looking scrambles. And you're going to try read it. That's a fool. Unapologetically, that's a fool. So it don't make sense. And then you have Father Abraham alayhi salam. Pharaoh, one of the fear of them, give him his daughter. Now, knowing that this happened, you know, see that she's a Habashi, she's black. The book that you all carry, call her a concubine. Call her all kind of despicable names because she's black. No. How did he become black? See? So we have this problem. You need to know when the curse did happen, how come the curse happened and we become another people. So everybody else were not black. There was no black people. So black people are the curse of the universe. Stop that rubbish. You don't have a leg to stand on and a voice to play with me. And if Farrakhan was working the thing properly and reading the thing properly along with the Quran, he would have said this long time too. But you see with us now, Worthy Muhammad, we left that. Can't not make no sense. So we leave it. Leave it alone. Why am I doing it now? Because the Hebrew are come to England. All former distortions are coming to England. All former scammers and new evangelists are coming to England to distract us, to take us off course yet again. Why are they attacking this side here? Who send them cross here? Not just because some people have booked certain people. No. This thing is by design, these things. Just like how the drugs start, and a ganja, a hardcore things. We're going right back to the Reagan and right back to the Nixon and right back to the Johnsons. All of these people, man. getting rid of the black man. We already siled the woman. Now we are harvesting the man. In Yemen, we are harvesting them. America, we are harvesting them. God knows what is happening in the Caribbean. All because of this fixation about this book. And rational people can tell you, say, listen, park that thing up, man. Just allow it. And let's move on. I am not trying to tell someone, come be a Muslim. I'm saying, really and truly, I'm saying, park it up. You understand? Just park it up. Let it fester dust. Yeah, leave it there. It's amazing that me turn around and say dust. Because when you look around the churches, them in England, you see pure dust. But you see Africans come and resurrect the church, them to rot it. Serious problem. You see African them come across here for learn and up themselves in the whole industrial world and the world of technology, information and technology and other things. But them just go and resurrect the Rati church them. That closed. Full of cobweb. Moldy. But they're there because they are listed properties. And then resurrect them. And in some of our areas, we never know so much African people there. Hundreds. You come a Stanfield Tottenham on a Sunday to rot it. I tell you, things a Tottenham and Arsenal play. Out the road, thick with people. And a black people. It's black people. Who condition we like that? I know we're very God-fearing, but please, let us find God. In our heart and soul, right deep inside. We are finding him through a white man eye. A black eye, a black head, a black body, having a white eye. What a problem. And they defend it. Listen to us, you know. We defend it more. We're argumentative. More than the man who put that thing out there. Than the man who put the thing out there. We are deciphering it more. And we are showing him certain things that he's wondering how the hell this idiot is coming to tell me this. So what him do? Him imply me. That's how come in America you have all these mega churches, you know. Him imply me. Can him see that him slave fool, but him have something going on. And I can work with it. And exactly what he's done. So we have all these mega church. It's not church. These mega gatherings. Multi-million pounds, you know. When I deal with dollars. Multi-million. And it'll run the world. Go Africa, the same thing. The same thing. So now me come Rasta now and say, here what happened? Is this what Owl taught you? No. Is it what Martin Planet taught you? Partly. Is this what Gadman taught you? Partly. How did it become like that? Some people I say, His Imperial Majesty say that him is a Christian. You understand? It's just like another one turn around and say that it is said that him is God incarnate. No, it's Jesus incarnate. The second coming. All these are wishful thinkings. Wishful thinkings. He never said that. He never said that. And a Menelik you're supposed to deal with. You want to get close to the prophet. You want to get close to that which was ironed out by God Almighty. A Menelik you're supposed to deal with. We supposed to deal with. But the British come and do something else. Say you don't learn nothing from Menelik. You don't rate Menelik. It's not that His Imperial Majesty is a king, but should he be in there? Question. Should he have been there? See? Them players swap with you. That's what they did. That's why I'm asking, how did Prince George, how comes the British was on the right and the left-hand side of His Imperial Majesty at the coronation? Who are these people? I don't want to hear about 72 nation bow. How was these people involved in African business? Spiritual business? Question. How come? Why wasn't Menelik and his family in attendance? Because they were in prison. Why? For what reason? The rightly heirs to David and Solomon, why? And the Queen of Sheba, why were they in detention? See? So much questions to be asked. And we don't want no philosophy from some theological practice. The question is why? And some people supposed to turn around and say, we don't know. And some people should ask, who is Menelik? What's significant about him? Or them? Yeah. You see? It's a big problem. And now someone is trying to do the same thing with Islam. But we notice that you all don't lambaste the Prophet. Yeah. You just come with this Arab thing. Arab. You're very careful of words to use and which way you want to throw your little pebbles. See? So at least your soul is guarding us. At least your soul is guarding us. And those who taught you whatever or seduced you to do whatever have been very careful with you all. Seriously. Because you have Marcus Garvey's son throw aspersions to Islam by saying things about Arabs and enslavement and so forth. The only thing that we don't do to him is attack him. You know why? Because when him say enslavement, we did enslave ourselves. And we did take some men and turn them into eunuchs. Yes. Question being, where are us? Where are we? Shouldn't you have asked that same question? Where's the Africans that was in North Africa? Where are they? I said you must ask the British. And why is we at it? You should ask the British, the French, and the Germans. Where are they? All these millions of people. And you want to cry every year for some Second World War incident. Alleged. Come on, let's be sensible, man. And then you would tell us, oh, the sharks up to today is still waiting for us. That means that those sharks were able to pass on a knowledge. Transitional knowledge. And them just come around the Mediterranean and the Pacific Ocean waiting for some food. I ask you, where are the Habashis that live, reign, rule, and govern Egypt, Arabia, all up to Persia? Where are they? And today, where you call this place here? the one that Morocco and Algeria. Yeah, where are they? Come on. Some of you know some history. You can tell us that when our Moors brothers and sisters, our family, was in Spain. Now remember, it's 850 years, not 8.5 years. It's 850 years. But if you did not know that the Spanish was able to exile and enslave and patriate hundreds, thousands of our people all the way up to Mexico from Spain, dropped so much in Brazil, so much in Portugal, and a huge amount in what we call Spain. That's why that territory around San Antonio, all that territory is Spain, you know. Yeah. And them force the extradited, or whatever you call it, not even deport, but our ancestors out of Spain in these territories. Did you know that? Did you know that? Now, my beef is this. Where is the Africans who were in Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Egypt? Especially Egypt, but where are they? Come on. Stop this Arab talk. Try to recognize that we're part of that. That's us. We're not discussing Saudi Arabians. So where are our people? Work it out. Bushman.
Tell you this, hear me out now. Whoa, hear me out. Whoa,
And you could be vexed till you're blue. I don't care. But sometimes the truth, not sometimes the truth is hit you hard, you know.
Oh God, yes. Who made the birds and the bees?
Allah.
Sky and the sea. You and me will. Who made the moon and the stars? All creatures great and small. Jah made them all. Take pride in destroying each other, living like savage every day. Ignorance in the spirit is holding us down. But what goes up, I know it must come down. 'Cause tribal war won't stop the problem. And grudge can't stop the problem. Only love of the heart can solve it. Oh yes. Wanna make no doubt the issues affecting my people, leading them to evil. Hate and grudge, despise and dishonesty. Tell you that's not the way we
Bushman, Rastaman, Bushman.
Wanna bring back the days when your love was down on earth. Wanna bring back those days when the heart of man was purged.
Listen lyrics.
What we need is love to guide us along the way. It don't matter what they say. I know tribal war can solve the problem.
Yeah, you see, if you're a Rasta and you listen, don't push up your chest and get vexed and muss up your lip and all them something there. You have to understand. You see? Never mind overstand. You have to understand. Because you are Rasta and you validate Rastafari with King James Version or King James or Paul or Martin Luther or the Anglican or the Protestant or the Angelical. Listen, regardless, that no Rasta. Rasta never come validate no Christianity or anything. Rasta run from right people. You know see it? Rasta come from roots. Rasta come from the ground. Rasta look to validate himself from creation, not through wicked and terrible men or humans. See? That was it. Resented the fact that someone grabbed us and ill-treated us and put us in bondage. You understand? So Rasta just said, the human, the man just turn around and say, we now work with them. We have nothing to do with them. Don't you get it? The first rebellion, and the rebellion that Paul through the Romans come and see, are we? And what them do? Them put you in an arena and just try persecute us. Because them a try find Isa alayhi salam from among we. Yes, you don't know the history. Read, man. You understand? And this is Rome. This is Rome. They couldn't break our backs. And then put we inside the arena with all their animals. And then them bring their gladiators. You see? Come on, man. You gotta read. And it's them who write this thing I'm saying that we have to read. It's not we write it. And it's not saying follow them. They're writing what they did. And then them hire this guy called Saul. And they were persecuting us. Because they want to find Isa. That when I call in, well, I don't know if I'm calling him Jesus, but boy, I can't work with that. You see? And we were able to flee each time. And even when them capture, we will not attack. You see? When them put we on the cross and make everyone else know if them come in a room and they don't follow their commands, that this is what going to happen to it. We still not attack. That's why it was easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to tell me. Them never capture him. They never slayed him. They never kill him. Neither did they crucify him. You see? And them take someone and give them another name. So we don't know where them get that name from. And when we Muslim corner them about this name, they always telling us to go to the Greek. Why are they saying Greek? The reason they're using the word go to the Greek, Aristotle and all these people, they were taught, they were allowed to come into Egypt, Kemet, and learn. So they were able to decipher something and put with the something else that them people have and come up with the something that them have. So the people them outside of the structure, when them get themselves in a quagmire and a mess, them easy come out and say, we have to go to the Greek. They don't say them have to go to the original, you know. Them have to go to the Greek. So where is the original? Why isn't there an original? Even from the Greek. Now, since they have to go to the Greek, when you're going to go to Kiswahili, if they're Africa, when you're going to go to Abyssinia, when you're going to go to the Negus Nagas, saying King of Negus, when? I don't understand black people that don't understand anything about their culture or cultures. Seriously, it's amazing what we do. Amazing. We have to go into Malcolm, because time has run out on me. Listen carefully how we commemorate our teacher and guide, Malik al-Shabazz.
Of the masajid in the area took collections to facilitate and assist with the funeral and several other expenses.
We're talking here
this
about
is a blessed
the
community,
grandson.
and we pray that Allah Ta'ala preserves
So we're going
it.
to move up, don't worry.
Malcolm X, if we want to reflect on his life,
Scene.
we should situate his life in the context of the Quran, in the message of the Quran. So one way we choose to do that, we mentioned these verses at Jum'ah, when after Uhud, the Muslims were depressed because it was more of a psychological defeat than an actual defeat, in the sense that it was a defeat that occurred after the victory was very close at hand. And many of the Muslims thought that the Quraysh had been routed. And then, as we all know, Khalid bin al-Walid led his charge around the unprotected Muslim flanks and wreaked havoc upon the ranks of the Muslims. And many of the beloved companions of the Prophet ﷺ died. The Prophet himself was wounded, and at a certain point his life was in jeopardy, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it was a crushing defeat, but right after that, Allah Ta'ala revealed in the Quran, وَلَا تَهِنُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. Don't be weakened in your efforts to continue to push forward with the religion and to combat those who stand against it in a very antagonistic fashion. وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا. And don't be saddened by what is befalling you. وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. And while you are uppermost, if indeed you are believers. And many of the exegetes, they say, إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ بِوَعْدِ اللَّهِ. If you're believers in the promise of Allah. And what is that promise? Allah Ta'ala tells us, كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَأَغْلِبَنَّ أَنَا وَرُسُلِي. Allah has ordained that He and His messengers will be victorious. وَكَانَ حَقًّا عَلَيْنَا نَصْرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah Ta'ala tells us we can't impose a right on Allah. But Allah says we have made it a right upon ourselves to assist the believers. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala tells us, وَبَشِّرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. نصر من الله وفتح قريب وبشر المؤمنين. Help from Allah and a speedy victory. Give glad tidings to the believers. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us that in the road that we're traveling, there are going to be setbacks. And this is emphasized in the next verse. The point here is that Malcolm was a firm believer in the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And because of that, he never wavered in his efforts to keep going, to keep working, to keep struggling, to keep believing. He was a deep believer. And his faith was manifested, the sincerity of his faith, when he believed what he was doing was Islam. He did it with all of his heart and all of his soul. When he thought the message of Elijah Muhammad, that was Islam, he gave his life, he gave his soul, he gave every inch of his being. He gave the depth of any passion that he could muster out of his soul, he gave to that mission. And because of that, he single-handedly altered the history of this country. Because the Nation of Islam, for all of its flaws, it was a movement of historical import. It was a movement that transformed the civil rights movement. Because when the Nation of Islam, prior to the rise of the Nation of Islam, a rise that was orchestrated by and large When Malcolm came into the Nation of Islam, there was a temple in Detroit, a temple in Chicago, and a temple in Washington, D.C. When Malcolm X left the Nation of Islam, largely due to his work, there were temples in New York City, there were temples in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut, Springfield, Massachusetts, Providence, Rhode Island, Worcester, Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts, Philadelphia, all up and down the eastern seaboard. When Malcolm came into the Nation of Islam, there was no newspaper. Malcolm X established the Muhammad Speaks, which became the most widely circulated paper in the history of the African American press at its height. When Malcolm came into the Nation of Islam, there was no Vanguard, there were no Fruit of Islam. Malcolm came into the Nation of Islam, there were no connections with the wider African American struggle. When Malcolm left the Nation of Islam, there were networks with African American intellectuals, with figures with celebrities such as Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee and many others. One man. And when Malcolm came into the Nation of Islam, Bayard Rustin, James Farmer, Roy Wilkins were considered radicals. But with the rise of the Nation of Islam, they became moderates who were welcomed by the system as the standard bearers of the African American struggle. And these are developments of historical import. One man. What can an ummah do if they had that sincerity and if they had that passion? Despite the depth of his commitment to that movement, when he came to understand that it didn't embody the truth of Islam as that truth has been historically understood. There were elements of truth, there were good things. There's some people here who might have come through that movement. There were positive things. Emphasis on cleanliness, emphasis on timeliness, emphasis on commitment, emphasis on struggle, emphasis on sacrifice, emphasis on good dietary habits, emphasis on strong families. Those are all positive things that reflect true Muslim values. But when Malcolm understood that there were theological issues that were at variance with the teachings of Islam, he had the courage to leave, and not just leave and give up, not just leave and be disheartened, but to leave and to start over from scratch. And again, to do that takes a lot of faith. And it takes confidence in the promise of Allah, the promise of salvation, the promise of eternal life. These are things sometimes we don't even think about as Muslims. You know, we become so supersonic and highfalutin in our understanding of the religion that basic fundamental issues like salvation, basic fundamental issues like heaven and hell, associated with the unseen, the materialistic impulses of our society weigh so heavily on our soul. The akhirah becomes an intellectual construct and not something real that defines, motivates, and limits our actions. Our actions become limited by the fads and the styles of the day, by what's in vogue at the moment, by the cultural currents that are shaping our times, as opposed to having a deep internalized belief in the promise of Allah and in the threat of Allah, the promise of paradise and the threat of hell. Malcolm X believed in that. I sat with Betty Shabazz in the 96th Street Masjid in New York City and spoke to her, and she spoke about the faith of her husband. And she said, the nationalists have claimed Malcolm, the socialists have claimed Malcolm. She says, it's time for you Muslims to claim Malcolm. Because he was a believer. He was a believer. You could see the change in his demeanor as his faith grew. You could see the change in his appearance as his faith grew. But one thing that didn't change, his commitment didn't change. He kept working. He tried to develop his organization, the Muslim Mosque Incorporated, the Organization of African American Unity. He tried to reach out and build bridges of understanding with other communities when he understood, and this is insightful for us, because he understood, I may be a Muslim, but the forces that are working against poor people, against people of color, against poor white folks in this country, those forces are not going to be defeated by Muslims alone. It's going to take a broad base of committed, principled people of all faiths. And so when Malcolm understood Islam, he moved beyond the confines that had constrained him during his former years. And this is something we have to understand, brothers and sisters. So Malcolm wasn't weakened. وَلَا تَهِنُوا. Keep pushing. He wasn't weakened by the setbacks. وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا. He wasn't saddened. He still had that big smile while he was in the Nation of Islam and after the Nation of Islam. There was no sadness. There was only love. And we have to have love, brothers and sisters. We have to have love for each other. We have to have genuine love for each other. Because if we don't love each other, we're not going to sacrifice for each other. Malcolm was able to sacrifice for the people he loved. He was able to give his life for the people he loved. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So he understood that it's going to be hard. And so after Allah tells us, don't be weakened, don't be saddened, while you are uppermost, if indeed you are believers, if you are believers in the promise of Allah. And then what does Allah Ta'ala tells us? And what did He initially tell His Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and those who were with Him? And all of us subsequently. إِن يَمْسَسْكُمْ قَرْحٌ فَقَدْ مَسَّ الْقَوْمَ قَرْحٌ مِثْلُهُ وتلك الأيام نداولها بين الناس فليعلم الله الذين آمنوا ويتخذ منكم شهداء والله لا يحب الظالمين. So Allah says, if some injury, some setback, defeat, hardship has afflicted you, then you should know that your adversaries have been similarly afflicted. In other words, if you were defeated today at Uhud, then at Badr, your opponents were defeated. وَتِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. We alternate these fortunes between people. There'll be a day for you and a day against you. Sometimes you'll be powerful, sometimes you'll be impotent. Sometimes you'll be rich, sometimes you'll be poor. Sometimes you'll be influential, sometimes you'll be with no influence. These are things that alternate. But the constant should be your faith. فَلِيَعْلَمَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. In order that Allah will show which of you truly believes. It's easy to believe when it's easy. It's easy to believe when no one's hating on you. It's easy to believe when you have a lot of money in your pockets in the bank, you don't even know where to put, under your bed, inside your pillow, under the mattress. You don't even know where to put it. It's easy to believe when you have it like that. It's easy to believe when you're strong. It's easy to believe when no one's against you. Everyone is for you. But how's the faith going to be when you're poor? How's the faith going to be when you're powerless? How's the faith going to be when you don't have influence? How's the faith going to be when people are hating on you and looking down on you, defaming you and denigrating you? How's your faith going to be? Malcolm's faith was strong. Malcolm's faith was strong. People hated the so-called black Muslims. They were demonized. They were vilified. They were defamed. Their leaders, they were slandered. Their names and pictures were plastered all over the papers, in the news, the fledgling television, the grainy black and white. And the black Muslims, the hate that hate produced. And in that context, Malcolm's faith was strong. When he left the Nation of Islam and his life is endangered and the security apparatus of the state is stalking him and bearing down on him, and some misguided people who are being used are stalking him, and his house is bombed. And mysterious letters and threatening phone calls. His faith was strong. The point, brothers and sisters, our faith has to be strong. You know, we're not, this isn't a religion for people with faint hearts. This is a religion for people of strength. And people who, I should correct myself, there's good for those who are faint of heart. المؤمن القوي خير وأحب إلى الله من المؤمن الضعيف وفي كل خير. The strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer, and in each there's good. But the people who are going to push this religion forward, the people who are going to give the race its true right. You know, we got I used to run track. I ran relay, 4x110. You get the baton and you pass it on. You drop it, everyone loses. People before us passed us this baton, and in the 20th century it was a hard leg of the race. There were cramps. There was the fierce opposition. It was not easy to be a Muslim in the 20th century in many places on this earth. It was a time of colonization at the beginning of the century. It was a time of nationalist and secularist, socialist, communist regimes who inherited the states that were carved out by the colonizers. There was open war on Muslim culture, customs, belief were denigrated, ridiculed. It was difficult to be a Muslim. But despite all of those hardships, that baton was put in our hand. Are we going to drop it? Are we going to pass it on? If we're going to pass it on, you're going to have to run with strength. Malcolm ran with strength. Malcolm ran with strength, and Malcolm was one of the people that passed us that baton. And he passed it on with his blood, not with his words, with his blood. You're going to drop it, or you're going to get in the race, run hard, and pass it on to those after you? That is the question before us. So Allah Ta'ala is telling us it's going to be some hard times. It's not always going to be easy. And Allah is going to show who believes. فَلِيَعْلَمَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Malcolm believed. وَيَتَّخِذَ مِنْكُمْ شُهَدَاءَ. And take martyrs from your ranks. And we said at Jummah, not murderers. You know, who knows where this tape will end up? I'll tell you right now, all of you people, we're not talking about martyrs, people who put bombs on their bodies and go into masjids and marketplace and murder people. That's a murderer, not a martyr. A martyr is someone like Malcolm X, who stands up and testifies to the truth in the face of overwhelming odds and never gives an inch, and then loses their life as a result. That is a martyr. And Allah Ta'ala says, if you're true, that martyrs are going to come from your ranks. وَلِيَتَّخِذَ مِنْكُمْ شُهَدَاءَ. And Malcolm gladly accepted what Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala described. Because people came to Malcolm, they said, Malcolm, listen, we'll take you to Africa, we'll hide you. That's a big continent. There's a lot of places to hide. But Malcolm said no. He said, I know I'm going to die because I've entered on a path that is a very dangerous and treacherous path. And that path is simply speaking the truth in the face of tyrannical rulers. Afdalul jihad, kalimatu haq inda sultanin ja'ir. The best jihad is speaking the truth in the face of a tyrannical ruler. Why? Because usually it results in your death or you're going to jail. Those are the usual outcomes. You know, you go to a battlefield somewhere, usually you'll come back alive. You're going to come back alive. You speak the truth, the real truth, the unadulterated truth, the truth that threatens the people that are oppressing, exploiting, are trampling on people, the truth that if it is embraced by the masses of the people in their exploitation, in their diabolical exploitation and oppression, that truth will usually lead you to jail or lead you to your grave. And Malcolm said, I'm going to speak the truth. I don't want to go hide in Africa. I want to speak the truth. And if it results in my death, then my death will be the cause of Umar Farooq coming into Islam one day. My death will be the motivation for people who are faced with hard times to keep struggling one day. My death will be the inspiration for generations who will come after me. And if I do not give my life for this struggle, then those people who will come into Islam inspired by my example will not come into Islam. Those people who will struggle and take up that baton and run that hard race and pass it on to those after them will not enter into the race. If I do not give my life, I must die for what I believe in. This is what Allah is telling us. وَيَتَّخِذَ مِنْكُمْ شُهَدَاءَ وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الظَّالِمِينَ. And Allah does not love oppressors. Allah does not love oppressors. وَلْيُمَحِّصَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَيَمْحَقَ الْكَافِرِينَ. In order that Allah will purify the ranks of the believers. So Malcolm, through his struggle, through his effort, through his sacrifice, was a purified soul. And because he was a purified soul, he could follow the truth wherever it led him. He could follow the truth wherever it led him. If it led him to the depths of the ghetto, he was in the depths of the ghetto. If it led him to Oxford University to debate with the professors and philosophers, he was at Oxford University. If it led him to his grave, he followed the truth to his grave. Because he had a purified soul. And that soul was purified through the struggle that he embraced. وَيَمْحَقَ الْكَافِرِينَ. To obliterate those who antagonistically and demonically and diabolically with dastardly deeds and nefarious intent distort, slander, demonize, murder the people of this religion. أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ وَلَمَّا يَعْلَمِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا مِنْكُمْ وَيَعْلَمَ الصَّابِرِينَ. Do you think you're going to enter paradise when Allah has not yet shown which of you will struggle and which of you will be patient? أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ وَلَمَّا يَعْلَمِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا مِنْكُمْ. Malcolm struggled. Malcolm struggled. He struggled when he had nothing. He struggled when no one knew his name. He struggled when he was a person with international stature and repute. He struggled when he had the entire apparatus and the entire body of the Nation of Islam behind him. He struggled when he started from scratch in the Audubon Ballroom and similar venues in New York City with a handful of people. It didn't matter because he wasn't in it for the numbers. He wasn't in it to be a big shot. If he wanted that, he would have stayed in the Nation of Islam. He would have denied what was in his heart. He would have just taken the status, taken the notoriety, this international spokesman of the Nation of Islam. But Malcolm wasn't in it for that. Malcolm was in it for the truth. And because he was in it for the truth, whether he was famous or unknown, whether he had a lot of force behind him or if he had a very small following, he struggled for the sake of the truth. And may Allah Ta'ala bless us to follow his example. This is not a religion of doing nothing. This is a religion of struggle. This is a religion of reality. It's not a religion of illusions. One of the prayers our Prophet taught us, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqan wa zuqna ittiba'ah, wa arina al-batila batilan wa zuqna ijtinabah. Oh Allah, show us the truth as the truth. Show us reality as reality, the truth as the truth, and bless us to follow it. And show us falsehood as falsehood, and bless us to reject it, to shun it. This is a religion of truth. And Malcolm, this is a religion of reality. Malcolm worked on the basis of reality. Malcolm was not deluded. He was not a fool. He was not a dreamer. He was a dreamer. But his dreams were shaped and formed in the context of the truth. And because of that, he worked very practically. We mentioned, if he understood the reality, he understood, I can have the loftiest ideas, but if I don't have a way to translate that into meaningful benefit in the lives of everyday people, those ideas are just, it's like fluff. It's like whipped cream. It looks good, but if you knock it, there's really nothing there. And if it weren't for the sugar, you probably wouldn't even taste it. It's not like real cream. This ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. Whipped cream is not the real thing. It looks good, it tastes good, but if you have some real cream, you savor it. Whipped cream comes out of a can. Real cream comes on the tip of your finger. You dip your finger in. There's no artificial intermediary. There's not a can and a plastic nozzle. And whatever is that pressurized chemical air is, there's only your finger and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with. You savor it. If you have a little honey to put on that cream and then you dip your finger in it, oh boy. See, Malcolm understood that. Malcolm never settled for whipped cream. Malcolm wanted the real thing. Malcolm wanted the real thing. So if we're following Malcolm, if we're inspired by Malcolm, we should want the real thing. We should want the real thing. So this is about struggle. يَا أَيُّهَا الْإِنسَانِ إِنَّكَ كَادِحٌ إِلَى رَبِّكَ كَدْحًا. That's the human condition, is struggle. You're toiling to reach your Lord, you'll reach Him. Jihadun nafs is called Jihadun nafs because it's difficult.
Extremely.
It's difficult. It's difficult to change propensities that are natural to you. It's difficult. You could disguise it, you can put a veneer of it on it, but to change it deep down is difficult. It takes struggle. وَلِيَعْلَمِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا مِنْكُمْ, and it takes patience. وَلِيَعْلَمَ الصَّابِرِينَ. Struggle and patience. Malcolm struggled and Malcolm was patient. If he wasn't patient, he wouldn't have endured like he endured. He wasn't always famous. He endured as a single man for 12 years after he had been in his former life engaged in what he was engaged in. That takes patience. He endured to build what he built in the Nation of Islam with the help of others, or being the instrumental. That takes patience. Malcolm built the Muhammad Speaks newspaper was an institution. All of those temples were institutions. The Fruit of Islam, the Vanguard, those are institutions. It takes patience to build institutions. It takes patience because there are a lot of setbacks. And if you don't have patience, as soon as you hit a roadblock, an obstacle, you're going to give up. You're going to turn around. You're going to go back. فَلِيَعْلَمِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا مِنْكُمْ وَيَعْلَمَ الصَّابِرِينَ. So, brothers and sisters, as we reflect on the life of Malcolm X, let us commit ourselves to struggle for this religion, to struggle for our country, to struggle for those people who are victimized by the kinds of forces that victimized us. We had an organizing meeting this morning with some of the imams, and there were some, Dustin was there, one of the organizers, and others. There was one of our Latino brothers, Carlos Martinez. Carlos Martinez, he said, Muslims and Latinos should be struggling together. He said, listen, we're being oppressed by a federal agency, ICE, Immigration Custom Enforcement. And you Muslims are being oppressed by a federal agency, the FBI. So why aren't we struggling together? Why aren't we struggling together? So, brothers and sisters, we should be people of struggle, struggling for our religion. I'm amazed. People give up Islam like no fight. Man, what did it mean to you? Yeah, just like that. You go to one lecture in your philosophy class and you're not sure if you want to be a Muslim anymore. What did the religion mean to you? Before I would even start thinking about it, I would have to read a whole encyclopedia of arguments against it. You know, this is not something to give up cheap. This is something worth struggling for. This is something worth struggling for. This is something worth being patient for. So may Allah bless all of you. May Allah bless Malcolm. May Allah expand his grave. May Allah perfume his grave. May Allah open up a window, show him his place in Jannah from his grave. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us to visit his grave and to pray at his grave. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us to be inspired by his example. May Allah ta'ala bless us to be able to smile like he smiled. Well, Ozzie Davis, did you know Brother Malcolm? Did he ever smile at you? Maybe smile, you know? Don't think this is so weighty, we can't smile. Malcolm, smile. May Allah bless us to smile. May Allah bless us to spread good cheer to people, to greet people with a cheerful countenance, to keep the sadness in our heart and the smile on our face, and to keep our focus, keep our eye on the prize. Bless us to share love with each other like Malcolm loved us. Malcolm loved us. And Ozzie Davis in his eulogy emphasized how much Malcolm loved us. And he loved us so much he was willing to die for us. May we love each other. When we love our fellow people here, may we love the people of this world. There's enough people hating each other. And may our love for them be an inspiration to propel us to struggle for them, to be a voice for the voiceless, to be an advocate for those who have no advocate in the halls of power, to do it with good cheer, to do it with a smile on our face, but with burning determination in our hearts, with passion in our hearts, with courage in our hearts, with vision in our hearts, and most importantly, with a love and a strong connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our hearts. This is what's going to sustain us, brothers and sisters. This is what sustained Malcolm. This is what you ever see a picture of him in Salah. Rahimahullah. He was connected to Allah. May Allah connect us. Connect us to Allah. May Allah, we have a strong connection, an unbreakable, unshakable connection. May Allah bless this gathering. May Allah make these gatherings a source of our strength, not an end, but a means. The majlis is not an end. I'm going to the majlis to go. I'm going there to just be there. If that's it, turn around and go back. You're wasting your time. I'm going there to strengthen my heart. I'm going there to replenish myself. I'm going there to be renewed. I'm going to there to renew my connection with Allah and the Messenger of Allah so I can struggle, so I can patiently persevere. That's what the majlis is for. That's what the majlis is for, brothers and sisters. May Allah bless all of us. Man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufakkihu fid deen. The one Allah Ta'ala wants good for, He gives him or her a sound understanding of the religion. Allahumma al-fahm, al-fahm, al-fahm. Ya Allah, Allahumma fahimna fi hadha ad-din. فهمنا في هذا الدين ولا تجعلنا من الجاهلين واجعلنا من العالمين من الفاهمين من الذين يعملون ليلا ونهارا في خدمة هذا الدين واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين إلى أرواح الشهداء.
Yes, you see, the Muslim and the love of that which is love and the love for truth and true understanding. We are going to keep knocking on him door because him don't belong to no dead stock. Him belong to people who want to work, to people who recognize their families, to people who also understand that struggle is what we call jihad feasibilillah. Life in its infinity is a struggle. And through that struggle, one will find the purification of what we call love. When I talk relationship between woman and man, we are talk genuine human beings exercising the love that God Almighty fashioned and created us with. You see? That's deep spirituality if you're but to try to know. So, we are going to keep knocking on Malachi Shabazz Al-Mawali's door. We are going to keep teach our children, remind them, remind ourselves, and make headway to develop a structure, some form of infrastructure for ourselves. And like me, before me pass. You understand? Because it's 73 years late. But who's the orchestrator of time? God Almighty. So we say, life teaches us to make good use of time, while time teaches us the value of life. It's very ironic that we find these things in the pursuit of projecting not symbolism but truth to a people who wish to listen, who wish to find a solution within themselves to solve a problem in us. But first we have to solve it within ourselves, and then we can come together and cooperate and let us be that great light to which we were fashioned from in the first place. You understand? Are we that? Who's that? The human being. We are the exclusive ones because we always remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The black man and the woman, no matter where them did it upon this earth, always remember. No matter how bad we did, we always remember the Creator. So now you should understand why it was important symbolically that our enemy decide to hoodwink us so we don't see and work with the Almighty. You see? That's what it is. Deception. We have to find Sirata Mustaqim. We have to find the right path again. We know where it is, deep down in our reservoir called the soul. We know where it is. But we know hold on to it tough, tight, firm. That's why they were able to manipulate our children and get at our females. Because how we are going to reproduce? When you soil our females. What kind of people regenerating are we going to have? When all we have done is allowed our females to be soiled. You think other races on this earth look at us proudly? Yeah, for singing and running. Any race of people that would allow and be part of the destruction of its females ain't worthwhile living. You want me to say? We're not worthwhile living. The teacher, the first teacher beside Almighty God, is a woman. Is a woman. The first carer is a woman. First form of elevation to moral guidance is a woman. And once you destroy that, we have nothing. Check again. Check again. What is happening? But Al-Mawali, Malak al-Shabazz, we don't have to claim him or claim him back. We're going to highlight him. We're going to teach the children and teach ourselves to remember and implement, because Al-Islam is not a sit-down, look up in the sky and wait for milk and honey to somehow come and fall in our mouth. It don't work like that. You have to do. You see? And then you have to deal with some charging up of your batteries. Zikr Allah. Yeah. You see a Siaga, the white boy, the American. I say, don't forget your commoner. Don't forget it belongs to you. Don't segregate it and take on something that is not yours. Hold on to what belongs to you. Don't give it away and go somewhere else. He's to be admired for that. By me. I don't know about anybody else. You see? And I do admire him for that. But we'll talk about him another time. Yes, Mr. Best.
some trust. Ooh. We were beaten all our life through, doing things that you're not supposed to do, yeah. We were beaten till our back was black and blue. And I was born a loser. I was born a loser because I'm a black man. I was moved from my own land just because of all those white man's plan. I am living in a white man's land.
See, we good at messages, you know. You think that joke, we're joking. Listen.
Some say they're my Jehovah Witness. Some say they're my Adventist. Some say they're my Anglican. I am the Rasta man. Some say they're my Jehovah Witness. Some say they're my Adventist. Some say they're my Anglican. I am the Rasta man. Pray to the God's fasting. Surely bring disaster. You fight against the Rasta man, and you don't know Jah, don't know Jah, don't know Jah. Jah is lovely. Some say them are ranking. Them get spunky. Some say them are general. Them have the medal. I feel we still tell them follow it. Here we go. Come, let's praise and to Jah. Jah is the conqueror. They can never, never conquer Jah.
And before some people start think this, and now we bring the J, you know, and we use it. You see? And we never bring no J. And we never try. You see? But we use it. And we use it when the word Jehovah, you see, was put in the book. Yeah. The witness. You understand? So, and these areas, these technical, theological areas, you see, Rasta didn't know what they were doing. Not me can't say that they don't know what they have done, but we went through a whole heap of evolution. You understand? So things get confused. So don't say that me a twist the thing. Me not twist nothing. J.
Come, let's praise and to Jah. Jah is the conqueror. They can never, never conquer Jah. They can never, never conquer Jah. Jah is the conquering Lion of Judah. He has break the chain and set dreadlocks free.
See? Listen.
Free again and again. Jah is a mighty man. Jah is rough and tough. Every nation should bow unto him. Every tongue should confess. Jah is a mighty man. Jah is the conqueror.
The conquering, yeah, man. The conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of God, ever living, earth rightful ruler. Who that? Menelik. You don't believe.
Catch a fire, say catch a fire, they make a
You know, there's a whole heap of books that's been out there during the time of the Ottoman Empire and even after. A plagiarized, ostracized, allegedly to do that against our Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing upon him. You see? And all of these fictitious things were done by the government of Britain and others. Just like the satanic verses by the Rushdie man. You see? All these things we are to enjoy now. And I say we, because me is a Muslim. And when the satanic thing was going on, I was a Muslim too. And I understand, overstand, realize, recognize what was being played out. You see? Why may I say that for? May I say that you're supposed to research and don't let the seed of Solomon and Dawood not to be recognized. Why did Britain want you to do that? And then you look in England, you see them have lions. Where them get lions from? You see, they have adopted something from us and then pray somewhat different because of the adoption and allow we to systematically divorce ourselves from that which is. And I don't hear none of them people that try to tell people about Arabs and Muslim this and that and the other talk about Menelik. Why? And they know. I know they know. Why don't they do that? See? Money again. Gee, foolish, man. Ignorant. Watch it. Catch a fire. I can see this in front any man face. I never hide behind a microphone and them something there. Now. I used to have the biggest argument at 12 Tribe of Israel meeting. And it wasn't even an argument. Me just asked a question. And all of a sudden everybody just get digital. You see? Everybody get humble. People start sweat and carry on and behave a certain way. And I demand some answers. I wasn't ignorant. It's just question. You see? Question. Yeah.
Fire agabonde. Fire agabonde. Catch a fire, catch a fire. Say catch a fire, they make a nice. Catch a fire, and they make a nice. Just the other day, I poke all down. Just the other day, another one fall. Catch a fire, catch a fire. Catch a fire, they make a nice. Catch a fire, they make a nice. Now you reach a Zion, you are run back. Now you reach a Zion, you are run back. You can't turn back from Jaja. You can't turn back from Jaja. Catch a fire, catch a fire, catch a fire, they make a nice. Catch a fire, catch a fire, catch a fire, they make a nice. Catch a fire, catch a fire. They make a nice. If they run to the rock, they fire, catch a fire, catch a fire, baby, it's a night. Just the other day, I go bound, the fire, 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 man.
And this is 12 Tribe of Israel. Listen.
Love and hate can never be friends. So no, oh no. Here I come with love and not hatred. No, surely goodness and mercy shall follow I all the days of our life. Envy no one, no wish to be with no evil man. For there'll come the day when you'll be whipped by the Father's hand.
See, with the Muslims, we don't have a Abba. You see? We don't. We don't like using things figuratively and then get people confused. We don't have a Abba. So you see, giving things in the Father's hand, right? Making God a man. You understand? We don't deal with that. But the song is a nice song. Yes, ladies, out on the list.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I love you. I don't know why, but I do. I really love you. Truly, I've got to have you. Times are gonna by when I'm lonely. Times have gone by when I'm blue. Yeah. Really, it's because of you. Truly, I've got to have you. What can I do to make you love me? What can I say to make you love me? I really love you. Truly, I've got to have you.
See, when we lose them, we have nothing. I tell you. Next generation, finish. Yes.
If I had the world,
Baby,
I'd give it to you, girl.
yeah, man, with both arms.
If I had the world, I'd give it to you, girl. You're like an angel to me. You always give your sympathy.
Young Dennis Emmanuel Brown.
When I'm exhausted and low, I always know just where to go. You touched my head, you always understand the little things that hurt me inside. Father, I thank thee for sending me this heavenly guide.
Young Dennis Emmanuel Brown. Sweet. The admiration for a woman. Tenderness.
When I'm in a misery,
What?
girl, it's just you that I see.
Comfort me.
You drive away the pains from me.
Cho-cho.
Sometimes you're like a cocaine, baby. Oh, baby, if I had the world.
See? Hear what man say? If you have the world, you will get to him, woman. See? Them kind of love, them kind of emotion. Sweet. Yeah, one day soon. Dennis.
One day soon we'll be together.
Women, ladies, the wife.
Sharing our love all alone. One day soon I'll make you love me, baby, and it won't be long before I make you my bride.
One day soon.
One day soon I'll take you to my home.
Played by the number one song, may I tell you, man. One day soon. Dennis.
There you'll meet the whole family.
Arranged by the mighty Prince Buster.
You'll take a ride
Played by the number one song, Tipper Tone.
underwater of love,
Then I know.
and there no one
One day soon.
can come enough.
Yeah, we have to go work. I know sleep time, you know. See it? Women, watch it, man. Dennis Emmanuel Brown, out there. Yeah, Derek Crucial Harriet. Yeah, what am I the name? Aquarius, Ching Chong,
I remember the song my
Clive
mother
Chin.
used to sing each and every morning.
Hey, you know, Barris Hammond, he was there for years, you know. I saw him there, man. And then him just leave. And they would zap out, you see it? And them just hold him. But, yeah, still get the world for hear him, you know what I mean? Aquarius, sweet. A education, an institution of learning.
I remember the song my mother used to
Young Dennis Emmanuel Brown.
sing each and every morning.
A 1973 rhythm.
Flowers blooming outside, and there ain't no love inside the brothers and sisters' mind. So if they can be good, they've gotta be careful. I remember one rainy day in March. My poor mom, she sent me out to get some stuff.
Yes, we wanted to talk about team chemistry, and the word chemistry is very important between the African peoples. Yeah? First, us here in the diaspora, particularly here in England. But tomorrow I'll elaborate on that because the time run out and we have some problem with the sounding. Not the sound of the sound system, the sound as a whole. And so we will look upon that carefully because team chemistry, we need to develop that team chemistry and why the word chemistry is used. In basketball, we use that a lot. We use that a lot. And like me always I tell principal, we would have loved to have an audience, right? A tea, dinner with Arsene Wenger. Because Arsene Wenger me see him as a tactician. Me see him as a man manager. And me see him as a team orchestrator. And me see him that him seem to have some chemistry, right? An understanding of chemistry, how him develop for him players them, him team. You see? I always tell principal, me want to sit with that man there for just to pick him brain, find out if the way me surmise him, if that's the way he really is. You understand? And it's not about black and white. It's about how people them use their faculties, right? And we are good at it for other people. We are good at it for other people. And we should be good at it for ourselves. For ourselves. You understand? But one of the reasons why a lot of things have passed us by, we seem to depend on leadership. And you do need leadership because in a team you have captain. But we shouldn't be broadening the horizon looking for a leader. Right? And through the people them have kind of like groomed us to want these things. You see? So, in the church, back to the theological thing, because it was there to divide us, it was there to create problems for us, and it's an obstacle in our way. And when I talk worship of God, when I talk nothing about spirituality, when I talk about that institution called church. You see? And then when you have these individuals, then they're called pastors, right? They're dumbing us down because what they're actually not realizing, and some of them do, but let's say the majority don't, they're giving us a European history of some things that they try to wrap us into. And it hooks us for a while. But look at the disturbances that it causes. Look at the distraction it causes. Look at the problem it causes. That's all you need to do. Don't look through the eyes of mind. Just check for yourself. Ask yourself a question. Look at it. Analyze it. Evaluate it. Assess, yeah, but evaluate it. You understand? So when I tell you, say, is anybody going to heaven? No, I'm saying assess it and evaluate it and see that our conditions remains the same. And it doesn't bring us together. And it's either the pastors that work for the state, the system, some form of structure accepting us. So we are not all inclusive. None two of them is working with another so that we can orchestrate, build, develop communities and have an infrastructure within that community. So at large here in London, in England, there's something significant about African Caribbean people beside play and amusement. Every other ethnic group in this country have structure. We have none. And we know, allegedly know what the man is planning, how he's planning everything, but yet still we don't know nothing about ourselves. How stupid does that sound? It does. It's stupid. Why are we like that? Because we've always felt that we need them to validate us. We not validate ourselves. And when there's something close to us, because we have to learn it, I think because we have to learn it, it seems that it's too difficult to do. So we take the one that we say we think we know already. But with Al-Islam, forget the learning for now. What it is, you have to apply yourself. As Rastafari is a way of life. And then someone's decide the validation of all of that is to grab the Bible and this, that, and confuse people, right? So if we go back to the way of life, we have our eating habits, we have our relationship, right? We respect ourselves, we have our morals, we have our dignity and everything, and we love the earth, yes. And we call upon the Almighty, yeah, deep down, or deep within. Al-Islam is the same. It's a way of life. It's a way of life. It controls your morals from the offset. You see? You have to be truthful and honest, sincere. Yeah. You can't encroach on a woman like that. No, it don't work, so. So who has patience for that? We all grew up with that patience and that tolerance and that feel for sensationalism and we want to caress and, yeah. I was going to say romance and all those things, them beautiful things, you see? And those who know how the beach is and know how the breeze and listening to the waves and so forth, as well as seeing them. No, it's splendid. Yeah. Yeah. That's romance, right? We're not talking about them things that are Hollywood. We're talking about the real article. The real article. Yes. So when my brethren turned around and said about Malcolm smiling, that's us. That's the black man. That's the African man. Not a villain. Not somebody that have a hard heart. Even in adversities, among your family and your brethren and everything, them give you solace. So you don't go around hard up, trying to be a rock. No. So there's so much that we know, but we don't have no shepherds. We have these pastors that working for a structure, and they don't apply nothing to us, but just get us to congregate. That's what the whole breaking down of the Muslim is about. So they don't want us to have this strength, because it's a ummah to al-Islam, not an individual and I and no. They don't want us to live according to our law, the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Sharia law. They don't want us. They want us in their banks getting usury, all these type of things, right? So what has the Muslim been doing? You know, see we set up with banks. You know, see that? And it's come late in the day, but partnership was happening, and the African Caribbean and the African don't have no bank in the United Kingdom, across Europe, and all these things about Western Union, this, that, and then the people are monitor this and monitor that, and then turn around and call us money launderers and all kind of thing like so. Come on, man. You think it's a joke? And some of you out there say about your study economics and all of that. You're part of the whole scamming dumb down syndrome. We need to be dignified. Or you're going to beg somebody money to open up business that needs you to declare how your business is, for them to turn around and validate your business to then say, hold on, here is this 50,000. You're begging, man. You think it's going to happen anytime soon. And it hasn't been happening. And then when they realize that there's a racial abuse taking place and maybe get charged, then let one go. And who's always the one? The one is always one of our sisters. And by the time we check her out properly, she's like, you know what I mean? You know, right? And she, listen, and she'll play all these love beach, love this, all kind of thing. Them always I give one every 5 years or so. And then we sit down and say, yeah, we come to. Come to do what? Take my application and sit down and talk to them and give them, and then they turn around and say, you need this and you need this projection, and you go back and you do this. And before you know it, in 6 months, you give them the whole strategy, the whole idea and everything of what you want to do, and then they disappoint you with one letter saying, we're very, yeah, they use the word sorry as well, but them can't help you at this time. Yes. And if you keep looking, you find that your idea is now bearing fruit somewhere else by someone else that don't look like none of your family. That's how our backs and our intelligence has been broken. Why this happen? We have no institution. We have no banking institution. Turkish, Greeks, all of them people have that. So they have to go beg these people. And if they went and got 50,000 and they want a million and them take 50,000 from their own people, them can go to Halifax, them can go to Lloyd's and all these others and get the rest of the money because them have collateral backing. Them have real estate backing. We don't have none of that. You think them beg them for the ideas that them have? No, man. Them just turn around and say, okay, have you got some form of guarantee? I tell the people them have a whole heap of guarantee. Them have a lot of signatures already. And when them go check, them vet the thing, them say, yeah. Next thing you know, them get 270,000. Gone, finish. Finish. We don't have that, man. We go up the road, see this guy hijack that one, this one, that one, come back and go get £10,000 and go rent someplace, bring couple artists across the place, make a good 70,000, pay off this man, pay off that man, and then you profit all 35,000 and everything, and you don't even turn around and say, well, all this monk of money to help do this and that. No, it's a hustle. And it continues the same way. Continues the same way until me and you fall out now and everything else. And then we run another little racket here and everything else. And me Jim Screechy here and there. And certain things work out like that. And it continues and it continues and it continues. And we have the artists, yes? We have the artists, them. So why isn't it none of these people that talk Garvey, this, that, the other, put all these artists or couple these artists together and come make the money. Eh? You understand? True play and amusement. Your brains don't work. You work for hustling, you work for the individuality, but no work for the collective. So you see, we Muslims, we have to work for the collective. Right now, Hajj is coming, Eid is coming. We have to send money about the place to help people who are not fortunate, who are not privileged, who need. And like me, because of ill health, I have to send mine out. So I send mine to my extended family in Uganda. And prop up at least 3 families for this Eid. You understand? Because of ill health. Not just because of that, but that's the reason why I have to extend it, my Kibani like that, because I'm not able to fast and I wasn't able to complete my fast. I wasn't able to observe the fast. So I should not observe Eid in the rightful manner without helping another family who cannot do so, or other families. So I'm going to be able to support 3 families in Uganda, inshallah. You understand? And this is a must. I mean, I show off, but I'm using these to say what is her criteria? What is the demands on us? There's none. It's just left to say, well, boy, we are gonna come down the road and demonstrate and do this, and yeah, we'll meet up. You see? So you have to really understand and to start learning Kiswahili, Tigranian and so forth at this time. At this time. Not it's not possible, but it's only going to be fruitful for our children. Again, we're late. Again, we're late. We don't use the tools that we have. Well, we do, but we don't use those tools for righteousness and for building. Listen to this tune, your guidance. Tomorrow, we there again. Yeah, it seems that everything we do, principle, the thing say issue detected, content issue detected. Ah! That means I'm stepping on the intellectual man them too. Guidance.
Some of you learn, hey, tell them some of you heard, right? Pass the knowledge from the right hand side. Pass the knowledge from the right hand side. Some of you learn, hey, tell them some of you heard, right? So you're talking about this coachy mentality, brother, and we know it's true. So now we know we're riding high and free. Little birds in the tree. If you want to know what the child of tomorrow will be, then here is what the man of today should do. You know what we should do. Pass the knowledge from the right hand side. Pass the knowledge from the right hand side.
Boom!
Hey, tell them some of you heard, right? Pass the knowledge from the right hand side. Pass the knowledge from the right hand side. Some of you learn.
You see that tune there? That tune is what you call a wax. Listen. Guidance, we gone.
I feel we sick of tell them feel low it. I feel we sick of tell them feel low it. I feel we sick of tell them feel low it.
Pull up this song, no, eh? Pull up this song, no, eh? Pull up this song, no, eh? Pull up this song, no, eh?
Yeah, man, of the roots once again. Rockers reggae music.
How do you feel when you're walking on the road and there are folks that criticize you each time you pass them by? In their own way.
No, no, no.
Yes, in their own way. The way you live and
hesitate and wonder how you live the way you do.
But they could never get next to
But
I.
they'll never get next to you. No, they never get next to you. Whoa, yeah, yeah, yeah. So no matter what they say or do, they can stop you know, 'cause in everything a man do, he must remember that the Father's watching him.
In every way.
Yes, in his own way. Yes, in his own.
There is a big tune. Listen to this.
Oh, yeah. Hey. Oh, Lord. The Most High. Oh. Come on and uplift yourself from the barriers of life. Uplift yourself. Jesus will never leave your side. Uplift yourself. Praises to the higher man. Let's move away where you stand at the sinking sun. Uplift yourself. First, you got to renew your mind. Uplift yourself. Jesus, Savior divine. Oh, yeah. Praises to his holy name. You see, the wages of sin is death, my brother. And don't you ever try to hurt another. Obey his word and give him all the.
You see what happened? It's the things that we learnt, you know. You understand? It's not a learnt behavior, but theological education. I tell you, man, the man's education we received. All of us, including myself.
Them a run, but them can't. No way. Them a loot and a shoot and a rob and kill. Every day. Them a run, but them can't. Oh yes. Them a loot and a shoot and a rob and kill. Every day. Tell me where can I find my resting place? I wanna lay my head down, 'cause I'm tired of hiding. I wanna stay on your holy ground. I wanna live a life that I really should live. Live the life that I really should live. Stay together with my family. Stay together with my family. I wanna leave out the Babylon system. Now you know that I'm fried. Me want run me yard.
See? The Almighty blessing with a good voice, you know, sweet voice. Mr. Crucial, Frankie Crucial, Paul. Is it? Yeah, man. God bless your soul.
Through the valley.
I will make thee fishers of men if you follow me.
See? You hear what I'm saying? I make you fishes of men. You understand? And that's biblical, right? You think so, Mr. Best don't know what take place? You want to hear some prayer? I go away from that, man. Yeah. Glenn Washington, last one, we're going about the place. Sweet Sister Judah. Hey. Hey, you're married material, you know. I married you. You're gone. What happened? What's this? I'm gone. Test them out later. Yeah. You see?
Lock it in, baby.
Yes, my baby, my gone. Guidance. Tomorrow, God willing.